right, let's get into it. Today we're talking about a huge topic in education, ICT, or Information and Communication Technology. We hear all these buzzwords, right? Digital transformation, ed tech, but what does that stuff actually mean when the classroom door closes? That's what we're going to figure out.
And really, it all comes down to this one question, doesn't it? When you bring a tablet or a smartboard into a lesson, is it just a shiny new toy to keep students busy? A gimmick? Or is it something that can actually change the game for how they learn? That's the line we're going to walk today.
So to get a real answer, we have to look past the gadgets, past the marketing hype and the cool new apps. We need to redefine what we're even talking about when we say technology in education.
Okay, so on paper, ICT is pretty simple. It's everything digital. Computers, the internet, all the software, the networks holding it all together. It's the what. But the second you put the words in education next to it, the meaning completely shifts. Suddenly, it's not about the tools themselves anymore. It's about what you do with them. It's all about the purpose.
And this right here shows that massive shift in thinking. The common view, on the left, sees tech as just an add-on, a tool for the teacher to use. But the educational view, that's totally different. It sees tech as a way to transform the entire learning process. It becomes a whole new environment for the student. And that little distinction, it's everything. So, if we're putting on our educator hats, what's even in this digital toolbox? Let's do a quick run-through of some of the main players.
First up, you've got the big organizers, the learning management systems, or LMS. Think Google Classroom, Moodle. These are the digital command centers for a class. They keep everything in one place: assignments, grades, messages. It's the backbone.
Then you have things like interactive whiteboards. And listen, these are so much more than just fancy projectors. They can turn a boring, one-way lecture into this living, breathing, collaborative space where everyone can get their hands on the lesson.
And oh man, assessment tools have just been completely transformed. With platforms like Kahoot or Quizzes, you get instant feedback on what your students actually get. Plus, it feels more like a game show than a pop quiz, which, let's be honest, is a huge win for keeping kids engaged.
Now, this is where tech does things that are literally impossible otherwise. I mean, you can't just fly through the solar system in a real classroom, right? Or mix dangerous chemicals. With simulations, students can experiment and play with these huge, abstract ideas and make them feel real.
And finally, we've got the collaboration tools. Think Google Docs, Padlet, that kind of thing. These are so important because they teach students how to work together in real time, no matter where they are. It basically blows the walls off the traditional classroom.
Okay, so we've got this amazing toolbox. But just having the tools is one thing. Using them well is something else entirely. And this brings us to what might be the single most important idea in this whole explainer: the huge difference between using technology for teaching and using it in teaching.
See, using tech for teaching, that's just the surface level. It's about making life easier for the teacher. Using a slideshow instead of a chalkboard, or sending an email instead of a note home. It's more convenient, sure, but the way kids are learning, it hasn't really changed at all. But using technology in teaching, now that is a whole different universe. It's about taking that learning experience and redesigning it from the ground up, with technology woven right into its DNA. It's not an add-on, it's part of the core design.
And this table just lays it all out. Look at the difference. When it's just for teaching, the goal is organization, and the student is just passively receiving information. But when it's in teaching, the goal becomes improving and personalizing the learning itself. The student becomes an active explorer, a creator. And the teacher? They shift from just transmitting information to facilitating discovery. It's a total game changer.
So how do we make that jump? How do we get from for to in? Well, it all starts with a new mindset. It's about being really deliberate and smart about the choices we make.
Here is a super simple but really powerful checklist. Before you use any piece of tech, just ask these 3 questions. 1. What is my learning goal here? What am I trying to achieve? 2. Does this tool add something unique? Can it do something that plain old pen and paper can't? And 3. Is this actually right for my students? If you can't get a solid yes on all 3, you might just be looking at a gimmick.
So when does tech become a true non-negotiable? It's a must-have when you need to make something complex or abstract visible, when you need to reach a bunch of different learning styles at once, when you need to give instant feedback, let kids learn at their own pace, or, and this one's huge, when you need to give a voice to the quiet kids who might not raise their hand. That's when it's not just nice to have, it's essential.
So let's pull all these threads together. The real point of all this technology isn't just about making old methods digital. It's about transforming them into something better.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. You can have the fanciest tech in the world, but it won't magically make a lesson good. The real power isn't in the hardware or the software. It's in the teacher's vision for how to use it to make a real difference. And that really is the bottom line, isn't it? The goal isn't to build some futuristic, sterile, digital classroom. The whole point is to use these tools to make learning more effective, more engaging, and maybe, surprisingly, more human.
So I'll leave you with this to chew on. In whatever you do, teaching, working, your own learning, what is one thing you could truly transform with technology? Not just, decorate with a bit of digital glitter. Because the answer to that question, that's where the magic really happens.